Bad Company, Rock 92.
Sometimes it is a part of my fantasy. Visualize town. Singing aloud. Yeah. We're going to make it. Come we get through one by one. That's that old good rock and roll shit. You're my rock and roll fantasy. Where'd my smoke rings go? I think I might have to use the vape to do it. This is called a vaporizer. It's got that old USB butthole. This ain't happening in this wind, man. Whatever happened to retards, man? I heard myself doing that bit first, and then Theo Von took it. This was one of many things that I found him doing that I had already done on my own. And I already knew that the universe wasn't mine, but I didn't know that we were all picking up on similar streams of creation, because I thought that was my shit I was going to pull out of my ass one day, and then there Theo Von is doing it. The retards are... I don't think that we should have took all that 1990s ridicule and thrown it away in the way that we did. It started really in the 70s after the hippie movement died, and the Vietnam War and all that shit in the 80s and everything. But back then we used to make fun of people all the time. Everybody did. And then we've been experiencing the karma of all that, like the other end. Everybody's had to feel what it feels like to be the victim of it. Because I got to the point where my personality was so humorous and ridiculous, sarcastic and sardonic, and I mean everything to as low as it goes, and levels that never even been invented, man. And then when life got real serious and I was dealing with some delicate issues, and all that toxic humor was all in my personality, man, it became a real burden to try to look at sensitive issues with all that coloring it on the outside, because I was using that to interpret messages that were coming to me from the other side, or whatever, however you say, from spiritual points of view from elsewhere that were trying to be loving, and I couldn't really see anything as being loving because I was making fun of everything still on some level. I think when I was young, I so hardly trained myself towards humor, because back then, because you still got to admit, it's just a fucking fact that there's nothing more holy than laughter. It's just the most wonderful thing, and I think when I discovered it as a child, everything else went out the window for so long. It was just like, and even now, I mean, humor colors everything. Sometimes in moments when I spent a lot of my life right there with death. I walked with death all day, and I had nothing. My life was nothing more than nothing, if not but a close call with death all the time. And I would just be sometimes stuck with the only thing that I'd do was just laugh, and like it's strange. I remember roaming around Florida in Melbourne, February of like 2019, and with this guy named Johnny from up north, and I'm so country and shit, especially back then. My little boy, my inner child, was still so young, and I mean, all I had was this country coming out of me at every gate. But and he was nothing if not John Gotti. Like he just had the slick back hair, and it was solid white, and he talked just like you know, Robert De Niro, or like one of those guys. Those Italian, just straight Italian motherfuckers, but we hit it off so tight from the get-go. I mean, we were pretty much just resigned to being cool with being up each other's ass, like from the minute we met. And we roamed around for such a long time in the cold, and all I remember was we just laughed all the time, and we suffered all the time. It was just like one or the other, and so we had this holy thing going on between us. This fucking brilliant laughter at the ridiculousness of life and ourselves, and how crazy we were, and everybody else was worse, you know. And then we met these other two guys that were the same fucking way, and they were like, and I'll never forget that fat old guy saying he looked like Kyle, just kind of not much like Kyle from that 44%, like Kyle from Tenacious D, and his friend was a invisible guy I don't remember even paying attention to for 2 seconds, but it was them two and me and Johnny, and he was like, I don't ever remember suffering so much in all my existence. I also never remember laughing so hard, and both of us were just like, wow. All four of us were, except that invisible guy. He could have been there or not, but then we got to heading around, because this one's gonna be part 3, but it's still drugs and fitness, because what I'm alluding to is that me and Johnny, the reason we wound up there is because we met in a psych ward. We were both there for drinking, and Johnny, the reason we got to laughing was because of just how stupid our lives were. We both spent every moment drunk, me on Listerine mainly, and liquor and beer and every wine, everything else I could buy, and him vodka. But he had fell down in the shower, and his friends, and he ran into his ex-wife, and she said, Johnny, you look like you're 90 years old. And he was like, wow, thanks, you too. I just got an accident in the bathtub, and I'm headed to rehab right now. So then we met, and when we got released from rehab, we went straight to the liquor store, and it was on. And then we met them fellas, and they were the same, drinking, because we were street drunks. And that's what, but back then, see, the fitness end of things kept me alive through those drinking years, because I had to walk everywhere I had to go. So my body processed a lot of that alcohol was pouring in it. But my life has always amounted to drugs and fitness. You know, because food is a drug too. Everything you consume is, including this video and all the other ones you watch. You know, life is a drug. It's a big fucking love affair. It's a taking and giving thing. But happy 9 minutes and peace.